Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Godzilla Roundtable for our second ever Thanksgiving special. As always, you're by me, Mulder, always known as Faye,
But here once again.
And Crash here, per usual.
and today we are discussing the 1956 movie Rodan, directed by Ishiro Honda. So, what did you guys think of everything going on here in Rodan 56?
So it was definitely a lot of fun to get to see this movie, the origins
wait.
of Rodan.
Oh wait, real quick, Crash. Rather than cut you off, I'm a dumbass. I forgot to ask everybody's ratings.
I probably give it 6 out of 10.
Oh wow, that's pretty low for you.
It was just kind of boring, but we'll see.
Okay, a ton.
Yeah, 6.5 out of 10.
Wow, you're even disregarding your letterbox score.
What?
The gospel.
The gospel of letterboxed.
Oh, wait. Oh, I misread my letterbox at 7. Sorry.
Well, then, Ton, are you now just following the letterbox, or is that your true feelings? Thinking emoji.
I guess we'll see as we discuss.
Okay. For me, it's 7 out of 10. I think the dub of this is better, actually. And this is the only movie where I can really say that about, where I think the dub substantially changes the film.
Mm-hmm.
Should we start with that discussion first, actually?
About the
Sure,
dub?
why not?
Yeah.
I think we should save it for the end.
Oh.
once we
Okay.
establish the
All right
original.
then. But okay then. So now we can dive into it. I'm sorry, Crash. I cut you off.
Yeah,
Go
I was saying
ahead.
it was really interesting to get to see about Rodan, one of the most iconic Godzilla monsters. And I've never seen this before. So it was definitely fun. Saw some stuff that makes sense for future portrayals of the character as well. But I think overall, it takes its time. I think it's a good way to say it.
Yeah. I guess I think we should just start off. What I think we'll all agree is probably the biggest issue in this film, and I think the pacing is just really, really off.
Yeah, it's very slow. And they focus on a lot of stuff and just kind of hold on to that for a while.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of shots just linger way too long.
Yeah.
Like, Rodan's a very, just one of those movies where it feels like every scene is just way longer than it should be, because it's not a long movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah, but it's just filmed in a certain way where it's almost like you're watching one of those baby relaxation tapes. You just get these really long shots of things doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just very long panning landscape shots, which while they look gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just a little too much downtime.
Yeah, because funny enough, like when we're watching Crash, this looks well like a JRPG area.
It's beautiful. Because it was really beautiful and just vast, like an overworld or something.
It's
But
very well shot. It's just that it's too long.
Yeah.
Like we don't need to see let's say 15 seconds of that. You could cut down to 5 seconds, I think.
yeah. Hey,
Just
that's the thing.
just off the top of my head.
They add up over time when you have a lot of scenes like that.
Mhm.
So in the end, you have 20 minutes of this movie is just landscape shots where people just read.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or yeah. That's the thing. It's not just landscapes. I don't want people to think it's just that. But like you said, there's a lot of people. It seems there's people just walking, going somewhere, or just running. Like the pacing isn't snappy the way it is in G54. I feel like.
Yeah. Definitely.
It kind of reminds me of Half Humans pacing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, honestly, the first half of the movie is just vacation footage. And yeah, this part definitely kind of has that vibe. There's a lot of scenes that just kind of go on and on.
I don't think the pacing's as bad as Half Humans, but it definitely feels it has that same vibe. I feel like Hondo is in a little bit of a sophomore slump during this. because
that feels right.
because like even later on, because like I know, but especially because now you guys have seen them too. Like Mantra and Frankenstein versus Baragon feel a lot quicker pacing wise.
Yeah,
Not to mention the Godzilla stuff.
for sure.
And the other thing which I have to say, just in terms of before we get to the positives, I feel like the characters in this movie are very underdeveloped.
Yeah, there's not a lot to them. We don't get to learn much about them.
Yeah,
They're just kind of like, oh shit.
which is why like usually I do like a character section, but I don't think there's much to talk about with them, to be honest.
Yeah, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the issue is there is no fleshing out of these characters. Really, they just kind of exist to serve the plot. Like, there's interesting ideas here, like when the main character played by Kenji Sahara. Ooh, what's his name? 1 second, I'll find his name.
Shigeru?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Tan. Like Shigeru getting amnesia is interesting as a plot, but then they fix it kind of quick too.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead,
repaired.
Tan.
It gets repaired really quickly, and it's just not really lingered on at all.
And while it's sad, we don't get to know him well enough, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's
Yeah.
the same issue with his love interest because, like, when her brother is being accused of murder, we don't really get much focus on her feelings on that. Like, we see her get harassed
Mm-hmm.
in like one quick scene, but that's about it. I feel like,
Yeah, and our brother gets like absolved immediately.
I know, pretty quickly.
and then we don't really get like his sister's reaction to her brother being dead for long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's just the characters definitely take a big step back in this movie compared to the plot and the monsters,
Mm-hmm.
which
definitely.
the dub fixes. But I'll talk about how later when we get into dub.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of positives, though, I guess we can talk about the monsters. Though, what did you guys think of Rodan in his first appearance? Or well, their first appearance because there's two Rodans.
So, if you might have heard my thoughts on Rodan about now at this point with the Godzilla Roundtable,
Mm-hmm.
but I like Rodan. I think he's a cool monster, cool design. But I think a lot of problems with his portrayal is that he's usually just kind of nuisance, more annoying than a major threat
Mm-hmm.
or thing to be like that scared of in most of the movies. But I think in his first one, he adequately fits that for me, like as in being a threat. Because here
Mm-hmm.
we get to see a lot of the damage, and obviously it's focused all about him. He's the main monster for the most
Yeah.
part, but he's very threatening. He's scary when he zooms by. He does like a massive like shockwave. Everything starts falling apart, which we don't really see get carried over as much, especially in
Mm-hmm.
a major form until like mainly like I guess Final Wars and King of the Monsters primarily.
Yeah.
But Rodan is just really cool here. He has a big presence. He's scary, and they struggle taking him down. I like it.
Yeah. I definitely think this, in terms of the pre-King of the Monsters portrayals, this is my favorite Rodan portrayal. Just because he feels genuinely scary here. Because, like you
Yeah,
said, there's a lot of damage he does, and even just the bits when he's like omniscient and they're not sure what he is. There's definitely a menace of what the fuck is flying through the sky,
yeah,
and I think that element's pretty scary. Also, he eats people too, and I think
I
that's
know.
terrifying. Which is something else
Scary.
that King of the Monsters kept as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ton, do you have any thoughts on Rodan in this?
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the better portrayals of Rodan in the show era. It's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of ironic it being his first.
Yeah.
Rodan, the other movies, is a fun character. Don't get me wrong, but he does feel kind of like comic relief,
Mm-hmm.
almost in a way. But
Yeah.
in this, you really get that sense of danger as like an original kaiju. Rodan and the female Rodan feel
Mm-hmm.
really dangerous and threatening.
Yeah. So as I do want to say, the female Rodan as a concept is really cool. You know, because you rarely get to see like a male and a female of a kaiju,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is really
and
interesting.
and the ending See, the ending's sad to me, but that's because of the dub. I don't know because like you said, Crash, the ending didn't really work as much for you. You said,
Yeah, I think with especially as you pointed out the behind the scenes stuff with that,
yeah,
and also just the visual of it because they just kind of hang on it, which I
hmm
know usually can be pretty sad, but what's happening there
hmm
was a little silly. It does. It's not hit as hard as I think it should. Although I get the intent, and obviously there's some tragedy to it. But I think, like just looking at it, it's not as sad as it could be.
Yeah, I think.
and
Oh,
oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you first.
Oh, I guess because they kind of go for this long, lingering, quiet shot of the female Rodan slowly falling into the fire. But well, I guess should I go into what the detail you pointed out?
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead.
The fact that it's literally a blooper almost from the fact
Yeah,
the wire broke and wasn't planned on, you can really tell that it's the puppet just breaking.
yeah,
You can almost hear like the background people frantically trying to like make the footage work. It like there's definitely been plenty of times in film where like unintentional moments happen that keep in the film, but unlike those moments here, it just feels kind of awkward.
hmm like I don't think it was able to work as good. And, like for another example, like in Monster vs. Godzilla, there's a bit where Godzilla falls into the pagoda.
Hmm.
But I feel like because Haruo Nakajima is in the suit, so it wasn't a puppet. He was able to save that take better. I feel like,
Definitely.
and make it feel more natural. With this, they did their best, but without like anything going on besides just the music, it definitely feels a little weird to a degree. I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's another monster in this too, the Mega Neulon, who would be brought back in Godzilla versus Megaguirus.
hmm I agree. The Mega Neulon were a really creepy bug type monster, and they're just everywhere here. And honestly, my
Yeah.
first time seeing them was in Mega Gears, which reveals what they eventually can grow into.
hmm
But here, they're like the most horror aspect of the movie, especially
Yeah.
in the first half when the cage people are dying mysteriously. They don't know what's causing it until they go in there, and the setup's really nice, very claustrophobic area,
Yeah.
not many places to go to, and this big monster in there, just like eating you, and you can hardly see it most of the time. So they're really cool here.
Yeah, they're very creepy, and I feel like because the giant suits bring them to life is really cool as well. I also like the fact that the Rodan end up eating them as their prey initially, because I think it's a
Uh huh.
really good escalation.
I
Hmm.
know.
Also, speaking of that scene, Baby Rodan is adorable in it, but
It
Yeah.
is really cute. It's just like waddling its like
yeah.
wings around. It's pretty adorable.
But Ton, do you have any thoughts on the Meganulon?
Yeah, they're really cool monsters. It's nice to see their origin in this movie. Um, the suit looks really nice for them. It's definitely kind of a show era suit, but the way they film it just makes it feel really scary when it like bursts into the house or he's walking
Yeah.
around the cave. They do a really good job.
I feel like the stuff with Meganulon is also some of the most violent Showa stuff from the monsters. Like, like,
Yeah.
like with all the blood and stuff like that. And then you see the dead bodies also from them. So
Uh huh.
it's very creepy. I know as a kid they scared the hell out of me. I go
Hmm.
into this on another show me and Tony are doing called Lovely Fear. There's the plug. Go listen. But yeah. Ton, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, check that out.
Something else I do want to give credit to is the effects are really good in this film, especially for like Rodan's flying scenes, like when they're fighting the jets.
Hmm.
I think Samurai did a really good job with them. They're very dynamic.
Yeah.
You're a plane guy, Ton, so what did you think?
I really like yeah, they always do a good job with kind of the plane scenes. Making the models for them look very active and stuff. And it's cool to see like a kaiju dogfight always. I like seeing the
Mhm.
classic jet.
Crash, did you have any takes on the effects or not really?
They were really, I think, really great for the most part. Besides just that final one, for obvious reasons. But yeah, no, I think like flying is definitely something that's harder to do than most other kinds of monsters, especially at the
Yeah.
time, 1965 or no,
No,
1956, right?
56. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it looks really well done,
Mhm.
especially with all the scenes where like you see a speed knock stuff down like that, or the Mega Neulon, which was puppeted by like two people, right?
Yeah.
I think they look really great. So yeah,
And speaking of the age, think something interesting. How this was the first time Toho did a giant monster film that wasn't Godzilla.
yeah, yeah. That was really nice to see. I guess after that they were like, okay, we're gonna do something new because that was after Raids again, right?
Yeah, I think with Rage Again, it didn't
That
flop, but it didn't do the business Toho wanted. So like, okay, let's just switch over to other giant monsters instead.
yeah, do new stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm
Yeah,
glad because we got to see so many new monsters be created during that time that would become
yeah.
so iconic.
And like the other thing also, which is another interesting fact to me, this is one of the first color Toho films.
It's really nice looking too. I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why they did all those like landscape shots so they can
That's
get
what
the
I kind of
color.
wonder too. If they were almost like flexing a little bit with their
Maybe.
new color stuff.
I could
Where
see
where
it.
or maybe back then like, oh wow, look at all this stuff in color.
And
Mhm.
Because that is sometimes because I do remember for Wizard of Oz, that's why they have a lot of atmosphere shots in Wizard of Oz to show off the color technology.
yeah, that makes sense. Maybe.
I kind of wonder that would explain it actually.
It's this one. It still makes it a little dank, but at least there's so
Yeah,
much behind it.
honestly, thinking on it, that was probably why you get those like long shots of just things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
first time in
huge.
color,
Yeah.
especially the landscape shots. I think that especially when you said that, Crash, that clicked in my head. Especially because you have to imagine back then. I imagine people weren't traveling as much too.
Yeah.
So that was probably like the easiest way to see like a different part of Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could have just been like experimenting too, especially
Mhm.
after like Godzilla's trying to see what works.
Yeah.
But
All right.
yeah.
Also, Akira Fukumi's OST is really good in this, as usual.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
What a man. Good stuff per usual.
I guess we can talk about the dub now.
Yep. That's a good point to bring up.
The dub changes a lot. It cuts 10 minutes of footage, rearranges a lot of scenes, and also adds in narration. Now, the narration is important because I feel like the narration lets them flesh out Shigeru a lot more. Because, like, when you're reading a book, you always get a deeper dive into a character because they're always narrating everything going on. With a movie, you don't get that as much. Now, you can counteract it with enough characterization scenes. But I think when you have narration, you can really like flesh somebody out if that makes sense. So they do that change, and it really I think really fleshes out the film, like especially that final scene because I showed you that Crash and Ton. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it,
Mm-hmm.
but like having him talk about it, I just think it adds a lot more emotion to it personally.
Yeah, I think especially for the type of movie where
Hmm.
there's obviously not a lot going on, it does a great job in lengths of helping to bring more get more context characterization to the scene especially. And for the ending,
Hmm.
I think it helps to kind of take away from that the dang like
Yeah,
rodent flying around thing, but also just kind of provide like a little reflection before the end of the movie of everything that happened
yeah,
to add more to the tragedy. I said it before; it's reminiscent of like the American dub versions of King of the Monsters and 85.
hmm,
And so I like those ending scripts a lot. It's like for those movies, they don't, for the most part, for the rest of the movie, they don't really need like narration because it holds up a lot already, already by
yeah,
itself. But this one definitely benefits a lot by it. And I think the ending narration adds a lot to it and helping to
yeah.
put together that tragedy and understanding of it. And
And
yeah.
and something else for me also, because I mentioned the 10 minutes being cut from the film. I think that really helps the pacing. The pacing's a lot quicker and a lot snappier. There's not as many of those landscape shots, or if
Hmm.
there are, they're cut down a lot. And there's not many scenes of people walking, or just like it really streamlines the movie. I feel another big change also is how in that final attack on the city the Rodans are doing. how the second Rodan, the female Rodan, kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
In the dub, they edit it. They edit that unearthing scene when Rodan first flies out to make it look like the second Rodan also flies out at the same time. So they re-edit stuff where her existing isn't as wait, where did she come from?
Yeah, because she did just kind of like show up just just like that. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that helped. I think that there's a lot to justify her like showing up more in the context of
Yeah,
the movie.
and that dub was also a huge success, as me and you were like reading about.
They did really well, especially in America, which is really cool to see. And I think helped establish to them that like Toho stuff could do well outside of Japan.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess does anyone have anything else they want to discuss with Rodan, or are we good?
Off the top of my head, not much more.
Okay.
It's an interesting movie. It was cool. I think it's cool, especially if you want to see more about Rodan.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say it's the most memorable,
Okay.
personally.
Mhm.
Done.
Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything.
Okay. All right, then. So I guess closing shots time. Crash, you kind of already started, so I'll let you
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. I think if you really love Rodan as a character, obviously check it out. And I mean, it's not a crazy long movie. Can't hurt to check it out. But I think for a better overall movie, probably check out the dub. I think it helps make it just like you get a lot more out of it, more substance in
Mm-hmm.
general. But other than that, I mean, it's worth a watch. I'd say if you like
Yeah.
kaiju stuff.
Done.
Yeah, I think Rodan's a very pretty B tier um kaiju movie. It's it's not my favorite, but it's not really bad per se. It's got some issues. Maybe check out the dub. I'll probably check that
Mm-hmm.
out sometime. See if that gets a little more enjoyment out of it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Honda's work's always worth a watch. So it's recommended, but only if you're like a big fan of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, for me, I would say if you're a fan of Godzilla, I definitely recommend it just because it is Rodan's first appearance. I'd recommend the dub over the sub personally, but if you're a purist, I think the sub's not bad. It's just I think it has more issues than the dub. Um, Beyond that, definitely if you're a Showa fan, watch it. And obviously, if you're a Godzilla fan or a Rodan fan, you have to check out his first appearance. Besides that, I don't know if I have much to say about it. I think it kind of I think fair enough. The only reason why it's as big as it is because it was such a big hit in America, and because Rodan ended up showing up in Godzilla films. But yeah, this was Rodan. I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. However you're celebrating it, nice and safe. Thank you for listening, and have a good Thanksgiving.